Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, June 22nd. Before I start this off, I'll start off on a little bit of a good note. Besides the fact that I am feeling good today. Uh, Darn it. Something just got into my eye. Anyhow, before I read, since I'm rubbing my eye and I can't see anyhow, or eyes, dang it. I thought I was ready. I thought I got all the crud and whatnot out of my eyes, but I guess not. Anyhow, we have here, it says, we must let God define good. Our definition includes health, comfort, and recognition. His definition, in the case of his Son Jesus Christ, the good life consists of struggles, storms, and death. But God worked it all together for the greatest of good, his glory and our salvation. Well, I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, that's, you know what? Not that I'm disagreeing with that. I don't think, God's definition would include death. I don't think God wanted death for any of us. Now, the struggles and storms, well, yeah, I can understand that part because without the struggles, it wouldn't define us. Without the storms, we wouldn't be able to weather what the world could throw at us. As for death, again, I don't think God put death in his plan for everybody's uh, well-being. Now, I do kind of understand the purpose of death. I just don't think that would be in God's definition. Now, our definition, health, comfort, and recognition, well, yeah, I don't think God would want our own personal recognition. As for comfort and health, well, health, yeah, I think God would want us to be healthy people. As for comfort, well, that in itself has its own definition. I think comfort is one of those things where I mean, well, let's look at some of the Bible characters. Moses. I don't think he was comfortable in his own mind, but the factor that he was, in the end, glorifying God, and he was comfortable with, comfort is one of those weird definitions because, I don't know. Now that I think about that, I don't know. But anyhow, um, yesterday was a little bit of a toughie. Oh, yes, and I forgot to put out a vlog for yesterday, and I'm sorry because I got a phone call that kind of threw my game off. And it wasn't a phone call from work. It was, I really don't know how to describe the phone call. It was just one of those weird, it's a Sunday, why am I getting a phone call about stuff that I'm not even involved in? One of those political, campaigning type things. And I'm like, I didn't think they made those phone calls on a Sunday. But it threw me off a little bit. That and a factor, I didn't sleep that well I didn't sleep very well Saturday night. Um, I had trouble getting to sleep, and then I had trouble staying asleep. And it was just one of those nights where it's like, if it wasn't for the fact that I did have to go to work, and I knew I was going to work on a Sunday, I probably would have just said, you know what, the heck with it. I'm just going to stay awake and push through the day and hope that me and Jerry can function as a couple instead of, arguing or getting on each other's nerves. And it was also the first day back to our regular hours of being at work from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., which for most people, they would complain because my job type, I don't really get to take a break. Because I am at the front of the store, I'm the register person. I have to be in the store the whole day, basically. Um, Maybe step out to take out trash and whatnot, and you know that affected the person I worked with for the bulk of the night. Um, he could have done register, but I. It's one of those things where it's like I don't know the kitchen, so we can't switch places, and surprisingly, this particular Sunday, um, it landed on Father's Day, and for the first 5.5, almost 6 hours, yeah, from the time I got there to about 8:30, it was kind of busy. It was surprisingly for a Sunday, it was extremely busy, and I kind of figured, well, it's Father's Day. Most of the stuff that was being bought, well, I don't think you could, I don't think you could, well, maybe it could have been for a Father's Day party, maybe not. Because, I mean, it was mostly like individual sodas or drinks, um, little things like that. Now, the number of people who came in to buy ice or the 24 packs of beer, now that could have been for a barbecue for Father's Day. I had, and I don't like using the word assume, but I had assumed because it was Father's Day that the bulk of the people going out to buy stuff would have ended by 4 or 5 o'clock at night because, hey, we're going to do a barbecue. We all want to eat by about 6, 7 o'clock, so let's get our stuff ready and whatnot. Now, I had two people come by to buy propane. Well, the problem with that was we had ran out of propane Saturday night. So, yeah. There's at least one out of the 2 or 3 people came to buy propane that was um, somewhat disgruntled by the fact that we didn't have any propane. It's like one of those, like, when you go to a store and they don't have what you want, do you bitch and moan about it, or do you just go to a different store without hassle? I am one of the people like, oh, you don't have what I'm looking for? No problem. I'll come back another day, or I'll be like, oh, that's okay. That's fine. It's Sunday. Most people run out of stuff on Sundays. I'll just go up to the next store. That doesn't mean I'm going to be rude about it, or that doesn't mean I'm going to be like, well, you've lost my patronism, period, type thing. I've had so many people come in and do that. It's like, really, you're going to be that obnoxious because of the fact of the one day we happen to run out of whatever it is you're looking for, it is going to turn into a bad day. Come on. It's a Sunday. Most people don't have, I mean, most people only get deliveries once a week. Some of the bigger chain grocery stores might get it twice a week or 3 times a week, whatever their delivery setup is. I can't help it that my company has one day a week delivery, and usually by the day before delivery, we're out of a bunch of stuff. I can't help that. So needless to say, that one customer was just going to be rude about it, and I didn't let it affect me. I was just like, ain't my problem. You want to turn a simple factor of we're out of propane into a complaining session, go right ahead. Let me give you the 1-800 number. You can complain to those people because ain't my problem. I'm not the one who deals with that stuff. It's above my pay grade. And that's going to be my new mantra at work. That's above my pay grade, or I'm not a manager. You know, because if it's not the customers complaining, it's management complaining, and I'm like, I don't have control of these things. I'm not a manager. I don't know. I don't have the authority to call the propane people and say, "Hey, look, I'm totally out of propane. I need a delivery right now." No, that's not my job. I'm not a manager. Other than that, yesterday was quite good because after 8:30, 9 o'clock, it died down. I mean, I literally had maybe within the last 2 hours of my shift, I had maybe a half a dozen to eight, 6 to 8 customers. So I was able to get back to my normal Sunday routine, which is literally clean clean everything in sight. I mean, I did so much scrubbing and so much cleaning and whatnot. By the time I got home, sorry, I've got a hangnail. Um, by the time I got home, I was just ready to go to sleep. Of course, by the time I got home, about 11:20, thereabouts. I figured, okay, I'll take like an hour. Well, my original plan was to take about 2 hours and just go to sleep. So about 1:30, I was ready. I wanted to go to sleep. Um, but then I realized because when I got home, Diane was telling me that mom tried to do laundry, but laundry wasn't done. And I was like, well, what do we need to finish up? Because I started earlier that day. And she was like, well, just, one load to dry, one load to throw into the machine to wash. And I was like, okay, no problem. I did that. We actually went to bed. Well, I think by the time by the time my pillow hit my head, hit my pillow, it was one. No, it was almost 2 o'clock. So I was like, oh, okay. Didn't get to bed as early as I wanted to. I'm back to my regular schedule. Whoop de doo. And thank God I slept like a baby. I slept the whole night. I don't think I woke up once. Maybe briefly when I was getting too warm and had to kick off covers and roll over and try to. But that was so brief, I don't think I remember if I did it or not. But then I woke up this morning quite refreshed. I'm in a fairly good mood. Um, Went outside to check mail, and this was like 10:45 this morning, and no mail. But I had noticed that as soon as I had like tapped on the mailbox with one of my nails that needs to get trimmed, um, two little mouths just open wide. I'm like, oh, they're awake. So I had to get my camera. I took a picture and a short video, which I may put on here. Hold on, I'm hearing noises. Either mom's leaving to go do something, or she's bringing something in. Okay, mom and Jerry are talking. My little room. Sorry, I'll get back to the birds. My little room is not centrally located, but because it was originally one big room, and there's this wall behind me is it was put up after the original house build to turn it into two divided rooms. Um, but anyhow, I will tell you about that some other time. God, sorry, my brain just started jumping. Um, well, anyhow, I can hear everything from this room. I can hear everything from the outside. I can hear everything from the inside. But yeah, our baby birds, they're doing quite good. This morning I saw two little mouths. Like I said, as soon as I made like a noise, two little heads popped up, big old wide beaks. So when you look into the nest with these mouths open, all you see is these two gaping yellow mouths, and it's like if you've never seen baby birds and how their mouths look when they open up to get fed, it looks like two weird alien flowers opening up for whatever purposes. But when they're not like I can see the two mouths open and I can hear the other two just like cheeping away down there in the nest, just cute as can be. But anyhow, today is Monday. It is truck delivery day. So depending on how much they get done or how much they do correctly, and this is my correctly, not company correctly, because what I notice is when they get truck delivery day, depending on how many cases worth of cigarettes they get behind the counter, whoever's basically going to take care of them don't take care of them. They just open the boxes, they open up the cases, they put out whatever cigarettes they have to put out or want to put out, and then shove them underneath the counter. No organizational pattern, no match brand with brand type deal like I prefer, because the way I do it is I make it simple for everybody, because all you have to do is look down and go, okay, there's the brand, there's the type of cigarette I need to put up. Like the three major brands that we have that sells, or four I should say, that sells is Marlboro brand, Pall Mall, L&M, and Camel. Now what I like to do is I like to take the Pall Mall and go, okay, here's all the Pall Mall. Here's the color of the carton because the color matches the menthol or light or regular. So I try to match the colors. Then I do the same thing with the L&M's. Then I do the same thing with the Marlboro, and then the Camel goes into a different. Camel has its own place to go to. Now I'll go in there and like last night I made sure everything was matched. I'll go in there and it's like, here's L&M, here's Pall Mall, here's it's like, no, come on, people. I make it so simple that all you have to do is stick it next to the proper brand, not just shove it wherever you want to. But that's my Monday. Monday, I'll be dealing with customers and making everything organized and cleaning. The good thing is now that we're open until 11 o'clock, 9 times out of 10, between 9:30 and 11 o'clock, I get very little to no customers because, like I was telling my coworker who was new, well, he's not new, but he's only been there for maybe a month. I told him last night, you'll see, after a certain time, we'll die down to nothingness. Well, yesterday was Father's Day, so he didn't have masses of pizza orders. He had maybe a dozen total orders, maybe 30 pizzas in all. He was basically dead with nothing to do from 8:30 to close. So by the time we were done, we were ready to close. He had already cleaned up the kitchen. He had done some facing and whatnot for me. I was probably busier than the kitchen was last night. Not a complaint, just an observation. Well, I enjoyed it. And if that's the trend, because so many people are used to us closing at 10, Actually, there was a couple of people who showed up at 10 o'clock and went, "Oh, you guys are still open?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're back to our regular business hours." Probably should not have said that because word of mouth around here spreads too quickly. But there's also been so many people who are like, "You guys have had so many accidents and disasters lately. I don't even know if I want to come in the store." And it's like, well, you didn't cause it. It don't matter. We're all good. Nobody's died. Nobody's had a hand lopped off or anything like that. Of course, with all the accidents we have had in less than a month's time, I kind of go, is the store having a supernatural problem? Is there problems manifesting because of something unseen? I don't know. It makes me wonder. Because they always say bad things happen in threes. We've had our third. Yeah, we've had our third in less than a month. A week ago, somebody got their hand caught in the dough roller. Luckily, no broken bones, just swelling of the muscle tissue. They had to cut her ring finger, her wedding ring off. So she kind of wants to sue the store for a wedding band. Um, a week before that, um, a week before that, another girl got her hand cut and caught, not cut, caught in the dough roller, and she had basically her index finger. I think she said the bone got crushed because she didn't have the dough roller open. She had it closed and got her hand caught in there. And then this past Friday, our cashier, the reason why I had to go to work Saturday, is our cashier passed out. Well, that cashier had some previous issues. She had third-degree sunburn and did not let that properly heal before coming back to work. Of course, that was circumstances that I am not totally familiar or totally in the know about. But she had passed out, and she had tests done. She can't work until the 22nd. Doctor's note, basically, which the boss is not exactly happy about. And trying to remember exactly what was said about that. She came in with her doctor's note, and she had testing done, and she might have other issues that may prevent her from working, period. Excuse me, I'm looking for something. I don't know. Nah, never mind. So, she may or may not be able to come back to work, period. Which is kind of funny because, it's not funny. I shouldn't say it's funny. It's not funny because it's a serious health issue. I can't remember if she said something about some sort of blood poisoning because of the third-degree burns, or what her issue was, because she has a blood-borne ailment that is genetic and doesn't prevent her from work, but she has to take certain precautions because she can easily get sick if she has an open cut or open sore. So I can't remember what it was. So it's kind of like one of those, boy, I feel sorry for you because of all your health issues. I thought I was having problems because of my health issues, but no, she's got some severe ones. I mean, I love my people, and I feel sorry for those who have problems. But at the same time, it's kind of like, for instance, because of my back, I have certain issues that I can't lift or do certain things that cause, like, I can lift and carry certain things, but they have to be of a certain weight. If they're over 25 to 50 pounds, I can't do it because it's going to cause back problems. And it's not that I have a doctor's note saying I can't do it. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to put myself in a situation that could basically do some permanent damage for a minimum wage job. That and a factor, it's not the company. The company is a really good company. I'm not going to knock the company. It's the management within the store and certain people within the store that just kind of make me go, no. First off, you're leading by example. Everybody that I've ever dealt with is the type of person that will follow a good example. But if you're leading the company or the store or whatever you want to call it, and your leadership is basically not very good, and everybody's basically following by example, which is basically what's happening in this store, the only person you can blame as the manager is yourself. Because they look at you and go, oh, she's, she, he, whomever is doing it this way, and basically turning around and bitching and moaning because everybody around her is doing the same thing. That's leading by example. You really don't have a leg to stand on if your example is not that great. Now, my supervisor, she does a lot of work. In fact, she probably does more work in the store than everybody else. So it's not really a true lead by example. It's more like everybody watches her work and figures, okay, if she's going to do it, we don't have to. No. She's doing it because you're not. That's the problem. If she assigns you, and I'm saying she because my boss is a lady, I do respect her now. Now that we've had our nice, good, long talks and whatnot, I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, I understand where you're coming from. The thing is, all right, she works. I mean, I can go in there and tell when she's done it and when somebody else has done it. The thing is, I'm not saying that she should be sitting back and barking orders and making sure everybody does it. But that's the thing. Nobody's taking her seriously. Don't know why. I'm hoping that they're going to start taking her seriously because we had a young fellow who was supposed to work in the kitchen one night. And the first night he called out 5 minutes before he was supposed to start working and gave some kind of like reason why. And when I heard the reason was something about one of his ribs dislocated, that he's got a weird rib that will pop out of place every so often, which is kind of like that sounds odd, but I guess it could happen with the three lower ribs, which are considered floating ribs. They're not connected to the actual bone; they're connected via muscle tissue or cartilage or something like that. I can't remember what. I don't know the human anatomy to tell you what it is. I just know where everything is located. But the next day, they had to call him, and he was like, I thought I told you I wasn't going to be able to make it in the next 2 days because of this situation. I have a doctor's note. And it's like, well, if you have a doctor's note, bring it in. The doctor's note will tell us exactly what's going on and when you can return back to work. But he was giving a whole bunch of excuses over the phone to one of the assistant managers, and the actual manager said, that's fine, he doesn't have to come back ever. Like, basically, he was fired on the spot. And I was like, well, kind of had it coming to him because he's been a real snot. So, between, I think we're down a couple people now. Well, no, we're only really down one person, one night cashier, which is kind of like, I can't do 7 days a week. I mean, the reason I could, but I can't. The reason why I can is I got stuff to do around here. And this whole calling me on an emergency situation or on a situation that should have been covered by managers. Yeah, that's starting to wear thin, especially when I was told by an eyewitness, my cook, that the day this girl fainted, the second assistant manager walked into the store during the situation, purchased a couple items and walked out. Didn't sit there and go, "What happened? What can I do? I'm here." And she walked in a uniform shirt. Like she had spent the whole day after getting off work just in her uniform shirt, which is kind of like, what? No, because when I get off work, if I know I have stuff to do, it's either I have a shirt in my car I can change into or I come home and change my clothes. She did that, and then Saturday they had called me to ask me if I could come in and cover the night position because of what happened Friday. And I was like, sure, but I'm not going to be able to get there until at least 4 because I was in the middle of stuff. They're like, oh, sure, no problem, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I get there, and I didn't really get like detailed information, but I get there, and the first assistant who was supposed to be off, who came in to cover a couple hours, basically said the reason why she couldn't cover the whole day is because her husband gets mad when she does that. What? Wait a minute. Your husband gets mad when you do certain things. My husband, my wife gets upset, but she's understanding and lets it go because it's extra money in our bank. Your husband's getting mad because you're covering and you're the first assistant manager, which is part of your responsibility as a assistant manager. That in fact you're earning extra money that you probably could use, and he's getting upset by this. I'm sorry if the role was reversed and my wife got as the assistant manager and got called. Well, actually, it was reversed. My wife was the manager, and she had to either cover all the bases or find people to cover the bases when somebody called out. Yeah, I kind of got upset by it sometimes because it was like we're in the middle of trying to fix something or do something that we need to do, and they're calling you to come in and take care of a problem on your day off. I learned through those experiences in New York that as a manager, whether you're the manager, assistant manager, second assistant manager, kitchen manager, you're a manager. It literally it's not written down in the rule books that I know about, but it is literally in my brain, and this is my brain. If you're a manager of any sort or any level of management and you get called because something happened and nobody else can cover it, that falls on your shoulders. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of thankful I'm not a manager for the store because of the way the store is. So I went in Saturday and she's standing there at the register and I'm thinking to myself, why couldn't you cover the whole night? Yes, it was your day off. It was my day off too. Why do I have to come in and deal with stuff when I'm not a manager? I love it when people call me and call me at nighttime and ask for a manager. Is there a manager on duty? And I literally have to sit there and go, no. There's only managers there in the daytime. There's no management at night. How do you have a store open and running at any given time, any given day, without a manager on duty. When I first started at this store, we did not have a second assistant manager. We had a gentleman who had been a manager at a different store, transferred to this store because he was going to college in our town. His old store was in a different town here in Missouri, and he was the acting second assistant manager. The manager of the store, when I first started, basically quit because she was given an ultimatum to either stay in the store after her shift to finish paperwork that she can do the next day or go home and take care of her grandkids. She did exactly the same thing I would have been. Family first, see you later. Take it. It fell upon the first assistant manager to deal with all the management stuff. They offered her the management position, and she was smart enough to say no. I originally got hired to be a second assistant manager, but that fell through when the store manager at the time left. I didn't get any management training and whatnot, and I really didn't need it. All I needed to do was know the store and know how the store operated, and I could have figured out the rest of it myself. But I wasn't going to take the position as a manager. The only thing I needed to be trained on as second assistant manager, besides what my responsibilities were in the office, was the kitchen aspect. I am pretty sure now that it wouldn't take me more than a day, maybe two, to figure out the kitchen. Because the only piece of equipment in that kitchen that I did not know was how to make the dough and the dough roller. I'm pretty sure I could figure out how to use a dough roller, but it's the cleaning aspect of the dough roller. And I watched them enough to know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do to clean the dough roller. Unlike some of these people, I would have pulled the plug and made sure there was no power going to the dough roller before I started cleaning the thing. And I'm pretty sure the first couple of days or so, I'd probably be keeping the front end person in the store a little bit longer, just so I can make sure everything was clean. So I don't think it would take me more than a week, maybe two, to fully grasp everything that I needed to do as a manager in that store. I was begged to fill out paperwork. That fell through because the district manager had a daughter that went through on a bad day, and it wasn't even me who was doing all the ranting and raving. It was my kitchen person who's no longer at the store that is now preventing me from being a manager of any sort, which I think is bumpkiss. Politics in the store, I don't play with it. But anyhow, it's been interesting working at this store. The company itself, like I said, is a good company. I would like to transfer to a different store just to see if it's any better or worse, because I think it's management. I think that not the store manager herself, but the people she chose to be her assistants or her kitchen manager, that I just kind of like. Only one of the three, and I'm not going to say which one, is trying her best, and they're all women. No offense to that, I don't care. And they're all women. Only one of them is actually trying her best to do her job. But of course, her hands get tied because of people above her. Anywho, I'm done ranting. Did I talk about my birdies? Yes, I did talk about the birdies. So yeah, I'm done. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Excuse me, I gotta get comfortable again. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them in the comment box. If you're sorry, if you're new to my channel and you want to hear more, hit the subscribe button, and a little bell will pop up that you can click on, and it basically have YouTube let you know when I put in my next video. And until next time, have a good day. God bless. Bye.